Boa tarde a todos, sejam bem-vindos. E esta é a primeira convenção, A New Beginning for Portugal. Eu sou a vossa anfitriã, o meu nome é Raquel Prates. É um dia muito especial também para mim. Bem-vindos à 39 A Concept Store, que também foi um sonho, que também se realiza hoje, sim, é possível, e ao qual eu e o meu irmão dedicamos à minha mãe, Amélia Moreira da Silva. Para quem não sabe, que é quase impossível, a grande impulsionadora deste projeto, A New Beginning, do qual também faço parte, é a empresária Sandra Correia, CEO da Palcor, a quem eu passo a palavra.
Boa tarde, good afternoon. Para mim é um privilégio ter-vos aqui todos. Há um ano atrás nasceu a New Beginning, nasceu como um sonho. Hoje realizamos a parte 1 do sonho e daqui a um ano iremos realizar a parte 2. Conto hoje com muitas colaborações, mas especialmente conto com a colaboração daquele país por onde este projeto começou, os Estados Unidos da América. Há um ano atrás eu estive nos Estados Unidos 3 semanas a convite do Departamento de Estado, o programa New Beginning, que foi lançado pelo Presidente Obama. Fiz 3 semanas de grande empreendedorismo e grande aprendizagem e quando regressei a Portugal quis fazer algo em prol do meu país. E assim nasceu a New Beginning for Portugal, em que nós sonhamos e nós ajudamos a concretizar os nossos sonhos. Passado um ano, eu tenho a honra e o privilégio de conhecer os novos embaixadores dos Estados Unidos em Portugal. E, neste casal maravilhoso, now I go to speak English, we have a wonderful woman, she calls Kim Sawyer. She is 5 months in Portugal, I think. And usually we say in Portugal, there is a big man, but always a great woman behind. Today, I say otherwise. There is a big woman with a great man behind. So, Kim Sawyer, she is a lawyer in her country. She received this year, in 2014, the Woman Business Enterprise Star. You know, only 14 people all around the world received this award, and Kim was one of them. For me, it's a pleasure that our ambassadress is here. She has a wonderful project for Portugal called Connect for Success. But for me, my pleasure is because Kim brings awareness for our country. And that, for me, is the big issue. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker, Mrs. Kim Sawyer, Portuguese American Ambassadress in Portugal. Thank you.
So, unlike my husband, I'm not used to public speaking, so I'm going to apologize in advance for using these notes. It's my honor to have been invited here by Sandra to speak at the first of hopefully many New Beginning events, and to be here for the opening of the concept store. By chance, just about 3 hours ago, I met Raquel. I learned 2 very important things from my coincidental meeting with Raquel. The first, that I've chosen the best hairdresser in Portugal. And the second, most important and relevant for today, is that I have the privilege of standing beside Raquel at this moment as she recognizes her dream of opening up the concept store for her mother. So, thank you so much. I appreciate idea of bringing together proactive entrepreneurs and great minds to inspire change and assist the people of Portugal attain their dreams. However, I'm going to begin my speech by mentioning many of the great things about Portugal that should not change. The warmth and hospitality of the Portuguese people, the beauty of your seashore, the charm and history of places like Porto, Coimbra, and Évora, just to name a few. The fact that you serve the best fish and cheese I've ever had. And by the way, I never knew a country that had a different cheese in every city. This isn't just every region. You have the finest and most affordable wines in the world. And I remain amazed each time I come back with the innovative and beautiful products that can be made from pork. And I can go on and on. But when I think about what needs to change, I always come back to the reality that I would never have known of the wonders of Portugal if not for the fact that my husband is the U.S. ambassador to Portugal. The problem is, if certain things do not change, those who live outside of this incredible country will never know about or experience the wonders of Portugal. And this will directly impact on the ability of the Portuguese economy to grow and on the ability of its citizens to attain their dreams. I will speak to 3 of my dreams, which I believe are fundamental to getting the rest of the world to appreciate Portugal as much as I do. If my dreams are realized, I believe that the Portuguese economy will prosper and the citizens of Portugal will have the tools, like we have, to make their dreams a reality. My first dream is that the Portuguese people overcome the culture of can't and the fear of failure. I believe, and history has proven, that failure can be your first step to success. Look at the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs. Before the iPad, iPhone, and iPad were created, Jobs dropped out of college. He was fired by Apple, the company that he created, and he launched numerous products that lost Apple millions of dollars. Despite so many failures, Jobs never believed that he can't or couldn't. Rather, he was even more determined than ever to succeed. His dream of creating a company that will still stand for something a generation or two was accomplished. Look also to Virgin's Richard Branson. Branson had a poor reading and math skills. He dropped out of high school and is proud to admit he's dyslexic. Branson's first business endeavor ran into major difficulties with the United Kingdom's law enforcement agencies. I doubt many of you know this, but Branson almost went to jail for publishing in the student magazine he started, Remedies for Venereal Disease. Once Branson established Virgin, his failures continued. Virgin Cola, Virgin Vodka, Virgin Brides. I could stop there, but I'm not. Virgin Clothing, Virgin Cars, and Virgin Digital. However, despite his failures and learning disability, Branson never thought, I can't or couldn't. According to Branson, learn from failure. If you're an entrepreneur and your first venture wasn't a success, welcome to the club. My second dream involves the Portuguese recognizing that gender balance in the business world is not only the right thing to do, but also the smart thing to do. To make it clear, I'm not suggesting that one gender is superior to the other, but rather that the inherent and experiential differences in men and women complement each other, and that creating and maintaining gender diversity at an influential level in an organization has an extremely positive impact on the business and society as a whole. Studies prove that companies with women in highly influential positions are typically more successful than those companies that do not have women executives. This makes sense, as women bring perspectives, experiences, character traits, and skills that are different than men. A gender-diversified outlook is essential, particularly when the consumers buying more than 70% of the goods and services are women. Specifically, research demonstrates that companies with women in executive positions experience greater sales and profitability, and that during recessions, those businesses that have women on their leadership teams recover more quickly, which may have something to do with the study my husband sent me last week from the New York Times that found that women operate much better under stress than men. And most of us here probably didn't have to read that article to know that. I think my husband did, though. Sorry, guys. Having women in executive positions with higher salaries is also a tremendous benefit to the communities, as studies demonstrate that women contribute back more to their communities than men. My third dream is that the Embassy's Connect to Success program is a success. Connect to Success is the Embassy's initiative to assist in the growth of women-owned businesses and to promote the strategic importance of gender diversity in the corporate world, the supply chain, and society as a whole. Connect to Success is based upon my experience and the tremendous opportunities I received and still receive as a woman business owner in the United States. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the program now. And this I can speak to without notes since I developed it. And it really is based upon my own experience. So I'm going to tell you about the program as 4 components. I'm going to discuss each of the components with you and explain to you how those components got developed or why. The first component is a corporate mentoring program. And it is very different than traditional mentoring programs. In traditional mentoring programs, you're generally talking on one-on-one mentoring. And you can be talking about anything from life coach to specifically helping you with a particular issue. The corporate mentoring model is based upon an experience I had. I was chosen a number of years ago by a company called Blue Cross Blue Shield in the United States to be their mentee. And the way the program worked is that once I was chosen, Blue Cross Blue Shield looked at my business needs, and found 4 members of their corporation to help mentor me. One was in finance, one was in marketing, one was in human relations, human resources, and the other was in business strategies. And they worked with my company for a year. And I can't tell you, I just celebrated my 20th anniversary owning my business. And thank you, you mentioned, well, actually, Sandra mentioned a number of awards that I have received recently. And I will tell you that without this corporate mentoring program, not only do I think my company would not be standing here today, but I certainly wouldn't have received the awards. Many of you here who have small businesses know that it is so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of running the business. And it is very difficult to step back and see the big picture. I didn't even know the big picture existed. And what I learned, and also I imagine that a lot of business owners here are like me in that my education, I'm a lawyer. I didn't get my MBA, I didn't get my undergraduate in business. It was in psychology and philosophy, furthest thing from business. But when I went to Blue Cross Blue Shield the first day and sat down with my group of mentors, what they did is provided me with a SWOT analysis. So those of you who did not go to business school may not know what that is, because I didn't. It's an analysis of the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Apparently this is like in business school 101, but it was not in any of the 3 years of law school I attended. And I can't begin to tell you what a difference it made when I was able to step back and do this kind of analysis. And one of the biggest threats that I found out about my business was the threat of technology, because there were other competitors coming in with much better technology. But I also learned something too, that you can take a threat and make that into an opportunity. If you know the threat is there and you can focus on it the right way, you are able to turn that around. And that's exactly what I was able to do. But I wouldn't have even realized the situation I had in front of me without this group of mentors that could make me sit down, sit back, and look at the big picture. So I am eternally grateful for that opportunity. So that idea of the corporate mentoring model is one of our first programs at Connect to Success. And I can't begin to tell you how successful we've been in Portugal. And it's a little surprising to me because what most people don't know, including the embassy, it's probably good I never shared this before, but in New England, the way women-owned businesses are divided in the United States are by, I think it's 4 different regions. So I'm in the New England region. In the New England region, there were only 3 corporations offering mentors to the, 10,000 women-owned businesses. So when I competed for the spot, I was one of 3, potentially 10,000 who applied. So when I brought this idea to the embassy, I didn't quite share the fact that we only had 3 people in 3 businesses in New England. We currently have 23 corporations in Portugal willing to support mentees, which is tremendous. And I'm going to guess that through the United States, there's probably 20 companies. So this is one of those things where you can't say, I can't, because I didn't let anything hold me back from trying to put this program together, including probably sharing some information I might get yelled at later. But anyway, so we have put together these corporations, and one of the first components of being involved in any of the programs I'm going to tell you about is registering as a woman-owned business. And you are able to do that through a site called We Connect International. And we've changed the requirements a little bit. When we first started out, we were following the United States policy, meaning that for a woman to be eligible for any of our programs, the company had to be owned 51% by women. In the United States, there's a huge advantage to that because the government essentially awards companies for hiring diversified vendors. In Portugal, because you don't have that kind of incentive, if a man and woman are equally operating a business, they're going to be 50-50, which is normal. So we subsequently, a couple of weeks ago, actually changed the requirements for people to be eligible to the program for it to be 50% women-owned. So that's something you should know. So anyway, we started our registration process about 3 weeks ago, and people had until Saturday to apply for the corporate mentoring program. And the mentoring program goes on for a year period, so you meet with your team for a year. And the actual introduction to our first set of mentors and mentees is going to be on November 19th. And I don't know how many of you know this, but November 19th is International Entrepreneurial Women's Day. And it is actually a day that's celebrated and that was formed by the United Nations. And I think there are about 140 different countries that are participating in International Women's Entrepreneur Day. And so we're really excited to do this. And I can tell you that this is going to be the first class of hopefully many classes. So first component of the program, our corporate mentoring model. The second component, which I am equally excited about, is our MBA consulting program. And in essence, you can look at this as another form of mentoring, but once again, it's very different, and it's based off of my experience. I was introduced to this idea of an MBA consulting program through one of my mentors at Blue Cross Blue Shield. So this, in the United States, was not a program that was limited to women-owned businesses, but through some of the things that New Beginnings promoting, networking and people helping people, I learned from one of my mentors about this opportunity. And what the opportunity was is that I could apply to Boston College, which is one of the universities in the Boston area, provide the professor of the MBA program, the head of the MBA program, with information on a specific business issue that I had that could be solvable in a semester. And a team of MBA students were put together. They were taking this as a course, and they were graded on, and they worked on solving my business problem for this semester. And it was incredible because the benefits, the business students are getting real-time consulting experience, and the woman-owned business at the end of the day is walking out with a real solution. And I actually did this 3 different times. And the first time, the MBA students developed a website for me. This was many years ago. I never had a website. The second time, and I don't know if the Portuguese government is as difficult as the federal government of the United States, but I was putting together a response to a request for a proposal from the United States government. It took 4 months to put that together with a team of 4 people. So they helped me put that together as well. And the other program that I got involved in, the other solution I had solved, is I was really trying to figure out where best to market my business. Now, when you're a small business owner, you don't have a marketing team. You can't afford to go out and hire a high-price advertising agency. So instead, I utilized what were these free resources for my company to once again help me grow my company. And that was incredibly successful. And I'm really happy to say that the universities here, we have met with 4 different universities, and they have been incredibly excited about this program. I am also ecstatic to say that on Monday, Scott and I from the embassy, from Public Affairs, is going to the University of Porto, who is going to be, I am going to be introducing the MBA program. In the spring semester, the University of Porto is going to actually be offering this kind of program. And on our Facebook page, Connect to Success Facebook page, you are soon going to find applications if you are interested in applying to be mentored or to receive the benefits of one of these consulting teams. But I am equally excited to say that Catholica, Nova, and Scott, thank you. I'm embarrassed to say that for those of you who may or may not know this, I'm constantly traveling back and forth. Unfortunately, I'm spending more time in the U.S., so I thought my time is better spent trying to develop programs like Connect to Success than learning my Portuguese. So I apologize. Thank you. So we're really, really excited once again that we're getting the response we have from the universities. And so I really encourage as many women business owners that are out here to register through Reconnect International and to sign up for some of these programs. Because again, we have the support. We can give you these free resources. Take advantage of them. They work. The third part of the program is discounted professional services. Once again, as a small business owner, you don't necessarily have the resources to hire an employment lawyer or to hire a business consultant. So for me, my experience was that Massachusetts, where I live, had changed a lot of the rules and regulations as it applies to labor law or employment law. And I had, even though I'm a lawyer, this was not my area of expertise. And I was able to, through my association with being a certified woman-owned business, receive heavily discounted legal services that enabled me to rewrite my employee handbook. And I can only imagine the consequences if I didn't do that as my business continued to grow. So this program we've been talking about, we haven't quite launched it yet, but despite the fact we haven't really launched it, we have, I think, currently 4 large law firms. Let's take that back. 2 large law firms and 2 women-owned and women-run law firms who have offered, I think it's at 25 euros an hour, to offer their services, which is pretty amazing, to our women-owned businesses. The 4th component of the project are free workshops. And these are workshops that again are going to give you tools to success. They're going to be workshops that discuss basic accounting, leadership, negotiating, doing business with the U.S., exporting, how to get capital. And for me, once again, I had the advantage of going to one of these workshops where I learned that if you're interested one day in selling your business, your finances should look very different than how they should be looking when you're filing for taxes. And this is illegal. I want to make this really clear. But it was something that, once again, as a lawyer, as somebody who's not a business person, I had no idea. So I learned that I can have cash accounting for tax purposes, and anytime I have somebody coming in looking to acquire my company, I can provide them with my accrual method financials. And I mean, again, I would never have learned that. So I think we're planning on, once the new year starts, to start offering these workshops. And I can tell you that, once again, we've gotten a lot of different organizations and people already volunteering to give some of these workshops. And I guess I'm going to conclude with that I believe if my 3rd dream comes true and Connect to Success flourishes, many women-owned small businesses and women entrepreneurs will be given the tools they need to succeed. And because of those tools, they will never say, I can't again. And it will be clear to all that that what is best for the economy and the community is a gender-diverse business world, where women hold as many executive roles and sit on as many corporate boards as men. Sandra, thank you again for this incredible opportunity, and I hope that each of your dreams, just like Raquel's, have come true today, come true. Thank you. Thank you.